Abuse. I walked away with one more contact in my phone, feeling like I was walking a few inches off the ground. The sensation had nothing to do with having just slacklined. This week's impromptu meeting place for USGA was just a short walk away. I arrived at the house to find it bursting with people. I recognized most of the attendees by now, though I'd only ever talked to a few of them. Somehow, I managed to isolate myself in every social setting. The people here already had their impenetrable friend groups. They had their geeks, preppies, and gentlemen's club that always rose to leadership. It was the same petty bullshit as within the church. Why did everyone have to put on a show of being so socially engaged? I knew my anger and hurt were irrational. I was jealous. They were all one, and I was alone. Easton was sitting on the floor against a wall in conversation with someone. I was here to see him, but as usual, he seemed oblivious to me as I passed. He had a way of making me feel figuratively small. I ignored him back. Dylan and Noah had cramped together on a couch across the living room from Easton. This would not help my case, but I had no other friends, and I didn't want to sit alone. I sat beside Noah on the couch, not looking at Easton, yet somehow only able to see him. 50 others crowded along the walls and floors in a way that would have violated the fire code in a public building. Eli hadn't come. I hadn't heard from him in several days. He seemed to be an inconsistent friend. That week's USGA meeting focused on recognizing domestic abuse. A 20-something-year-old woman from the women's shelter in Salt Lake City had come to expound on the topic. Abuse can be both physical and emotional, she said. I was shocked by how young she was, but she spoke with so much knowledge that I admired her. Abuse often begins with a power imbalance within a relationship. One person seeks to dominate and control their relationship or partner. Many partners in abusive relationships will wait until the abuse becomes physical or even longer before taking action. But it often starts earlier, with emotional abuse. An abusive partner will belittle or minimize your problems. They may seek to make you feel powerless and dependent on them. They'll try to make you believe that you have no options outside of them. Perhaps that no one else will love you. I sank into my seat as she spoke. She was describing my relationship with Claire. I felt almost exposed. I glanced around the room. My eyes landed on Easton, of freaking course, and I looked away. Noah, sitting beside me, placed a hand on my back. The contact grounded me during such an exposing and revelatory moment. My head fell onto Noah's arm. I didn't want to be here anymore, around Easton or the hordes of people I wished I could be friends with. I wanted to be home, alone, in bed with the lights off. The presentation continued, digging up all my shame from Claire. I thought I had moved on. It was over, but the scars remained. Hearing my story in the words of someone who understood brought me a surprising level of catharsis. I left the house in a hurry when the presentation ended, not caring if I looked rude, or that I hadn't even spoken to Easton. It's not like he gave a shit about me anyway. I wasn't interested in fawning over him and pretending like everything was fine when he found any and every excuse to be away from me. I stopped on the sidewalk in the front yard. Across the street was the Provo Library in the waning daylight. Why was I so upset? What was I even feeling? I didn't know. Mostly, I just felt numb. Noah stepped up beside me, eyes slanting away from me. "You alright?" "I'm fine," I said. I hated the thought of him being worried about me. "Some things she talked about kind of reminded me of things you've told me about your ex-girlfriend," he said. "You caught that, did you?" A bitter laugh punctuated my voice. "Yeah, I did." He made that adorable face he always did when sympathizing with me. "Do you want to walk for a bit?" I asked. "Sure," he said with a shrug. We began walking along the street, navigating a circuit around the library. He'd cussed me out, but he was here, and the only one I had in that moment. I never told you this when we were dating, but there was some non-consensual sex stuff that happened in my relationship with Claire. I felt awkward saying it after so long. "How so?" he asked. "She tried to have sex with me several times, I would tell her no, but she would still try. I looked away, ashamed. Noah thought I was too agreeable and never stuck up for myself. He didn't understand. Conflict had never come naturally to me. I mean, I yelled at her and told her I wasn't okay doing those things. She would always cry and say we could come up with a plan so it wouldn't happen again, but we never stuck to her plans. I just couldn't trust her not to try something sexual with me. Noah was silent for what seemed an unnaturally long time. I glanced over, surprised to see anger on his face. He glared down at the sidewalk. Have you been going to the counseling center like you said you would? I just went, I said. I don't know if it's been effective, though. That would be a good thing to bring up in your next session, Noah said. I don't want to make a big deal about it. It is a big deal, Johnny, he said, and there was anger in his voice. It is a big deal that she treats you like this. She manipulates you and still has you wrapped around her finger. She shouldn't have so much control over you. You broke up with her. You're done. I know. My words contradicted myself. Mason was the only other person I had told about Claire, and that hadn't gone so well. The thought of talking about it with Nilo gave me anxiety. Why was it so hard to say? I mean, it's not like it's as big of a deal for a man. Who the fuck told you that? Noah said. No one, I said. Was it her? No, just... I searched for words that refused to surface. It's just the vibe I get. Well, stop. It doesn't matter if you're a man. What she did was evil. If I ever met her, I would tell her that kind of thing is not okay, and that she needs to stay the hell away from you, he continued. In fact, give me your wallet. I withdrew my wallet, wondering why he would need it. Noah withdrew my school ID, which still had Claire's post-it note message on it. I love you, the note read. Noah had seen the note the last time we saw one another. He peeled the note off my ID card and tore it into pieces, tossing the bits aside. He replaced my ID in my wallet and gave it back to me. I stared at it, stunned, feeling a sudden sense of loss. Part of me had been hanging on to Claire through her note. At some point, I knew I needed to move on and overcome the past. Doing it now, though, seemed abrupt. I put the wallet in my pocket. You need to stop talking to her, Noah said. We had come full circle now, slowing as we approached the house. I know. She won't give up. You're just going to end up getting hurt. And you deserve better than that. I looked at Noah, feeling important for the first time in months, and hugged him. Our relationship hadn't worked out, but we still had a connection. Even hedgehogs gotta have their moments. Noah returned the gesture, and we hugged until Dylan showed up, holding a pair of motorcycle helmets. I realized only later that night that I hadn't even looked for Easton after the meeting.